Well, I think for me, Jenny, I think he's leveled it off but that's not telling the whole story in its totality. Yeah, they've played 7 games without Anthony Davis, but they've also played 4 games minus Dennis Schroder. So tell me the superstar, if you take away the next 2 best players, what their record's going to be. So if I take Joel Embiid and I take Ben Simmons and I take Tobias Harris, what do you think their record's going to be over 7 games? If I take Paul George and Serge Ibaka from Kawhi, what do you think his record's going to be over 7 games? If I take Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. away from Yoke, what do you think his record's going to be? So in order for us to tell the story, we must tell the story in its totality. Yes, they played 7 games without Anthony Davis, but they've also played 4 games without Dennis Schroder. And what Schroder does, Skip, Schroder is that sibling. He's the middle sibling. He's old enough to tie his own shoe, but he can also help the younger siblings tie their shoe. Because when you look at it, Skip, what he can do, he can create his own shot, but he can also create opportunities for someone else. LeBron was taking a heavy burden, a heavy load, Skip. Not only did he have to get himself going, he had to find ways to try to get other guys going. And you play in the amount of minutes that he's playing, these overtime games, Skip, where you would normally play maybe 35, 40 minutes, you start going overtime and double overtime. Now all of a sudden, when you're averaging 34, 35 minutes, that's going to creep up to 37, 38, maybe even 39 minutes. So I don't think he's done anything to hurt his case because none of the other MVPs have done anything to help their cases. Joel Embiid lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. That just happened Saturday. What place are the Cavaliers in? We've seen what happened when James Harden plays without KD and Kyrie. So, no, LeBron James has not hurt his case for MVP. As a matter of fact, I still have him in first place because how do you come back? You lost to the Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers minus GOAT James. So, if anything, LeBron James has maybe gained a vote here or there, but he's definitely not done anything to harm his MVP candidacy.
First, quick point of order before I launch into what I have to say about GOAT James. Somebody I'm looking down the barrel at right now bet me that over the 9 games that LeBron was about to play without Anthony Davis, and I'll give you without Dennis Schroder, I'll get to that in just a minute, but somebody bet me that the best player on the planet, quote unquote, would go 6-3 in those 9 games. And he started out 1-4. He lost 3 straight home games. And I think you've already lost the bet because I think the best he can now do is 5-4. Correct?
Hold on, Skip. You really going to take that bet after Schroder has to miss 4 games because of health protocol? For real, Skip, that's how you going to do it?
Them's the breaks. How many times have I gotten burned by some injury, some weird thing? But wait a second. I thought you told me that your man is still the best player on the planet, that he was running away with the MVP race. Now he's fallen back to where he just has a slight lead in the MVP race by default.
Slight edge.
So all of a sudden, you're trying to tell me that Dennis Schroder is like Kyrie meets Patrick Beverley? Is that what we're talking about? Because I hear LeBron say he's one of the best on-ball defenders in the league. Couldn't fool me. I give you, he's pretty good, but he's made no all-defense teams so far in his career. Patrick Beverley's made 3 all-defensive teams. So I'd say I'll take Patrick Beverley over Dennis Schroder. And the point is he Kyrie Irving because he's averaging 15 and 4 assists and 4 rebounds? Really? And you're going to make the case that GOAT James can't be GOAT without Dennis Schroder?
Skip, the thing is what he does is that he's their best on-ball defender, so he can pick up 94 feet. If you notice, the things that were killing them is what? Dribble penetration, kick to wide-open threes. We saw that Kyrie, James Harden, breaking the defense down, kicking the ball to Shannon, kicking the ball to Joe Harris, kicking the ball to TLC, wide open shots. We saw them get blown out in Utah. What happened? They couldn't stay in front of Mike Conley. They couldn't stay in front of Donovan Mitchell. He's kicking. They're kicking the ball to wide open guys. Schroder can slide. Schroder can move his feet. And so not only can he play defense as an on-ball defender, he also can get his own shot. He also can create opportunities for someone else. So he's a very valuable piece. Is he Kyrie? No, he's not Kyrie. But Skip, for them, and you talk about Pat Bev, the Lakers are not on the market for a point guard. It seems to me every point guard that might become available, the Clippers want him. They're in the running for Kyle Lowry. They're in the running for this one. If Pat Beverley is what you tell me he is continuously, and article after article say he's the third most important player, why the hell is the Clippers always looking for a point guard?
Well,
they got one.
Obviously, offensively, he's not a great point guard. Defensively, he is a little pit bull. You know it, and I know it. I'll take Pat Bev even at an advanced age over Dennis Schroder defensively any day or any night.
But as a total player, would you take Patrick Beverley as a total player over Dennis Schroder? Because you have to play both sides. That's the thing I love about basketball. You just can't snowbird on one end and light somebody up on the other end. At some point in time, you're going to have to buckle down on both ends. So as a player, would you take Dennis Schroder or Patrick Beverley as we sit here today?
Okay, I'll give you that. I would give a slight edge to a younger Dennis Schroder. I like his electricity. I like his quickness.
Yes.
He's not a pure point guard, obviously. He's really a two guard. LeBron is the point guard. So I will give you that you miss him a little, but don't give me LeBron's the best player on the planet and then say, oh my God, he can't do it without Dennis Schroder and AD. What about KCP? What about THT? What about the other Morris, Markeith? We can just go to, what about Kyle Kuzma? He's becoming a semi-star at least, right? You're loaded. You got a deep basketball team, and you lose 3 games in a row at home because LeBron stinks it up, and you're telling me he's still the MVP?
Yeah, but let me ask you a question, Skip. You didn't answer my question. If I take Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris away from Ben Simmons from Joel Embiid for 7 games, are they going 6-1? 5-2?
I didn't say Joel Embiid's the best player on the planet. You said LeBron is.
Well, no. It doesn't matter. We're talking about MVP candidacy, correct, right now. That's what we're saying. So I'm taking, if you take the 3 or 4 MVP candidates and you take away the second and third best options on those teams, what do you think their record's going to be if they play comparable competition?
The truth is, Joel Embiid has been so dominating, the record would be the same. Again, the Sixers aren't as deep as the Lakers are. Joel Embiid makes his free throws. LeBron James has plummeted to 69.4% from the free throw line. That is pathetic. You're disqualified from the MVP race if you can't even make 70% of your free throws. What do you bet me on his free throws? He's going to make, 80% this year, right? And Shannon, he just went through maybe the coldest three-point stretch of his career. He slightly came out of it last night, making 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. Wow. I'm impressed.
You saw that the one hit from Bakersfield, hit one from Bakersfield.
Oh, okay. Well, I saw him miss point blanks. Listen to this 9-game stretch. This is 9 games through the middle of February. He starts off with a 2 for 10. Then he goes 3 of 9, 1 of 4, 0 for 5, 1 of 4, 1 for 6, 1 of 8, and ends it with 2 of 10, and then 1 for 5 at Utah the other night. That is horrendously bad. He's shooting high-volume three-point shots, and he's crippling his team because I just gave you a 20% streak. You can't win games that way, and that's why. Let's look at the 2 games that they lost that were just horrendous. How about the Miami game? I'm going a week ago, Saturday night at home. And it comes down to LeBron, and he was 1 for 8 from 3. And what happened on the final possession? Usually the best player on the planet would say, I got this. And what did LeBron say? Here we go. They force a turnover. Here comes Caruso. Gives it to LeBron. Shoot it, LeBron. Shoot it.
They double it.
He gives it to Alex Caruso to take the game-winning shot. Then he criticizes Caruso for not stepping back and taking the 3 to win instead of just catching and shooting the 2 to tie. What? No. Not that situation.
Skip, not in that situation, because we saw a very similar situation, Skip. I think it was Denver and Washington, where Jamal Murray has the ball, and instead of a guy going to the basket because it's wide open, everybody goes to the 3-point line and they miss it. In this situation, he was not going to be able to get to the basket in the amount of time that he had. So why take a 2 to tie when you could just back up 1 foot and take a 3 for to possibly win? I agree with LeBron.
If you're the best player on the planet, you take one dribble to your left, one dribble forward, and then step back and shoot the 3 to win the game. If you're that guy, but he's not that guy, and he was 1 for 8 at that point from 3, and he says, I want no part of this.
Oh, like he did against Washington? That's the one you like he did that when he shot that 3?
Thank you.
So don't criticize. You better not have a problem with the shot that he took against Washington.
That was his low point.
Okay, then.
That game alone should have knocked him out of the MVP race because Washington came into that game 10-17 and beat the Lakers at home because what happened at the end of regulation? Well, Russell Westbrook said, I got LeBron after Hashimura had been taking him all night and done a pretty credible job on LeBron James. And Russ says, no, I got him. And Scotty Brooks says, okay, Russ, whatever you say, you're coach. And then what happened? Can we see the end of this game? LeBron goes to his left.
He got an and one.
And he actually kind of lucked in a shot. It barely greased in. And it's an and one. And he goes to the line. And what do I always tell you, Shannon Sharpe? That was a pretty lucky bounce he got. Here is LeBron James, the worst superstar free throw shooter late game that you will ever see. He has no clutch gene from the free throw line. It's like almost an air ball. He barely nicks the front of the rim on what would have been the game-winning free throw. And you're saying he's still the MVP? Come on, Shannon, that's pathetic.
Yeah, if you look at him, Skip, he shot that ball, and a lot of it lately he's been shooting the ball with all arms. He doesn't have enough knee bend and putting his legs into it, so the ball, because a lot of his shots have hit the front of the rim. But all I'm saying, Skip, I don't believe LeBron James has done anything to harm his MVP candidacy. For the simple fact is he was playing without his second and third best players, and the other guys that's also in the running has done nothing. And while you talk about the Washington Wizards, they also beat the Boston Celtics. They've also beaten the Brooklyn Nets. They went on the road, and they also beat, if I'm not mistaken, they beat Portland, they beat Denver. So what you keep saying, oh, the lonely Washington Wizards.
10-17.
But, they got an NBA. They're 10-17, but Bradley Beal's leading the league in scoring. Russell Westbrook has as many triple-doubles as anybody. He's a superstar. So on a given night, if you don't play your best basketball, they can light you up. And that's what happened. Ask the Brooklyn Nets what Russ and Bradley Beal are capable of doing. Even when they had their big 3, Russ beat them with their big 3. So don't pretend like Washington are just slouches. Yeah, they got up to a horrendous start. And they lost last night, a game they easily could have won. I think Bradley Beal kind of lost track of the time because he was looking to pass the ball. In the last second, he shot it, and it almost went in. But, Skip, for me, when I look at it, LeBron is averaging 25, 8, and 8. Is it the record that I thought they would have? Absolutely not. But I did not envision Dennis Schroder. Dennis Schroder is that spark plug. Skip, you know, everybody has that guy.
Yeah.
Like you said about Pat Bev, he's not extremely talented, but he provides something that nobody else can.
Okay, back to the Washington game. LeBron was 2 of 10 from 3 in that game. LeBron had 8 turnovers that should have been 9 because he should have had a charging foul at the end of the game. When he knocked down Bertans, he just ran over him and they didn't call it. That would have been the 9th turnover.
Right.
The point is, that game in overtime comes down to what? Could we see what it comes down to? No clutch gene. It just comes down to make it, LeBron. Just make it. If you're that guy, you're Mr. Logo 3, you have to pull up. You pulled up before you needed to because I want to make this higher degree of difficulty. Just go ahead and shoot your shot. Make one of them. Just make one.
Oh, he shot his shot.
Yeah, okay.
He shot his shot.
So he shot his shot, and he lubricked it. Didn't even come close. Didn't lip out, right?
Hold on. So let me ask you a question. Every time every historically great player has had an opportunity to win the game on a last-second shot, they've done that. I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. So Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant, all the historically great shooters that have taken the shot, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant. So every time they've shot the ball on it with a chance to win the game or tie the game, they've done that.
Okay, but what was our big premise going into this? No AD MVP. This is your chance to rise, shine, and run away from the field. You could all but close the deal. And in 7 games without Anthony Davis so far, LeBron is shooting 26% from 3 and 62% from the free throw line. Pathetic. So you can't tell me that he's still the MVP. Unless you make the total default case, he has obviously not enhanced his own case as MVP. You can't make that case.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.